Hello everyone. Greetings. Hello. How are you? I'm checking my cameras to make sure I've got you in my sights. I believe I do. Okay, fabulous. I'm coming around. Hi. Okay. Welcome everybody. My name is Elena and I am your host for Colavita Cooking Live today. I have a few housekeeping announcements. First of all, I want to make sure that you can actually see me. You can. Okay, fabulous. All right. Second of all, and moving on. Today we are making the Chicago deep dish pizza. So based on the polls from Instagram and Facebook combined, we're doing the deep dish, not the Cobb. I think you're going to be really happy with this because of the way I'm focusing this episode. But before we get to that, I wanted to let you know, make sure you've seen that we will not have a live on Thursday. And next week, well, we're taking a little break as we sort of figure out some new work things going on. So this is going to be our last live for a wee little bit. And so I hope we all enjoy our time together today. Please be extra active on the comments. I am going to check them frequently. I want to hear everything you have to say. And if you have enjoyed this, hi Arlene, and thank you Arlene for the olive oil crust recipe. I appreciate it. I'm going to give that a try. If you've enjoyed these live episodes, please do drop us a comment and let us know. So again, only this week for the live, and we're taking a little break, and we will keep you updated, which is why you should definitely follow us on Instagram or like our page on Facebook, Colavita USA for both, and head over to colavita.com to sign up for our newsletter so you can always stay up to date on what we're making, cooking, and promoting. All right, so again, the Chicago deep dish. You will not be disappointed. This is a pizza to end all pizzas. Now, I have to tell you, before I have tested this, this will be my fourth Chicago deep dish that I have made. And before I made it for the very first time, I never made it this way before. I've made skillet pizzas, I've made pizzas on the grill, as you've seen. I've made pizzas, oh my gosh, in a regular oven, in a wood-fired oven, in so many different ways, but I've never made a deep dish, and it's a little different and a little tricky. And, let's see, hi Mary Eileen, you deserve a break. You should see my kitchen. My kitchen deserves a break more than me, I'll tell you that much. It needs to recoup. So what I want to talk about is the difference. You may know, I mean, Chicago is a deep dish pizza, but there's some things that set it apart. And what I really want to highlight today are the dough, although I'm not going to take you through that whole process because it's very long, and the sauce. So, because the sauce is a great example of our Colavita extra virgin olive oil, our new label, by the way, which I know we've been talking about, or I have. So look out for it in the stores. I'm using our premium selection here. And what I've done is I've put about 3 to 4 tablespoons in this pan. Now normally I would make sauce in a pot, but I kind of want you guys to see what's going on, so I chose this low skillet so you could see. So I've sauteed about 3 cloves of garlic crushed in about 3 to 4 tablespoons of premium selection olive oil. And I've been sauteing this for about 8 minutes. I wanted to get really soft and infuse that olive oil with the garlic flavor. That's my goal. So, yes, this recipe is brand spanking new and it will be live tomorrow. So stay tuned. It's a special recipe that we're writing up for our July collection, which is all based on American dishes. And the Chicago deep dish pizza, I don't know if you can get more American than that. So we have some other great examples too, and I can't wait for you to see them. So be sure to check back on our Colavita.com recipe library tomorrow. Okay, so I've got my garlic sauteing. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to add some hot pepper flakes. And you can add as much as you like. This is about a teaspoon, and I'm going to saute them for about a minute in the olive oil. Because again, I can already smell that heat. I want that flavor and that heat to become infused into the oil. So this is the time to do it. When the oil's heating up, garlic, hot pepper, there you go, your flavorings. Okay, hi Shelly. Ah, yes, okay Shelly, you can put me to the test here because this is serious. I'm very good at Neapolitan style pizza, but I am, well, let's see, I've made 4 of these in the last month, so I'm feeling okay, but you know. All right, so we've got this sauteing. Now what I want to do is sort of deglaze this with about a 1/4 cup of either chicken stock or wine. And this is what I'm calling my very flexible sauce. You could use wine, white wine, you could use red wine if you want, or chicken stock or vegetable stock if you're a vegetarian. So it's really very flexible. You just want to add a little bit of flavor, get any crispies up. That's what they call deglazing, is getting the crispies up off the bottom of the pan. And we're going to bring that up to a simmer and let it reduce just a little bit. All right, now it's already simmering. Yes, okay, so then what I have here, you know, one of the differences between Chicago deep dish is that it's an actual sauce. So Neapolitan pizza, traditionally, if you're adhering to the strict guidelines, of which there are some, is generally just crushed tomatoes, and specifically San Marzano crushed tomatoes. I have here our Colavita crushed tomatoes. I have 2 Tetra Packs. We sell them in these gorgeous little Tetra Packs that are great for a lot of reasons. So I have that, but this, you can doctor your sauce. You can make your grandma's marinara, your marinara, somebody else's marinara. I would recommend our Colavita marinara that I'm showing you right now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these 2 Tetra Packs of Colavita tomatoes to my pan. Get them all in there, and I'm going to give this a stir. And what I want is for this to come up to a boil. But while I'm waiting for that to happen, I want to do a few things, namely add some salt and black pepper, should you enjoy that, and some fresh basil. So let's go ahead, and then I'm going to add the secret ingredient. This is a super fast sauce. I don't really cook this more than 20 minutes, and I might do it less just because I'm kind of trying to not bore you guys to tears, but 20 minutes. Okay, I'm going to put this in my fake sink. Okay, a little bit of salt. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of salt and stir that in. And then I have fresh basil. This is from my own little garden. I'm so proud of my little quarantine garden project. I've got tons of herbs. So I'm going to put this in a full bunch, and what I want to do is submerge it in the tomatoes. So cover it up. This obviously works a little bit better when you have a whole pot instead of a skillet, but you get the idea. Okay. Hi, Amy from Southwest Florida, and hi, Deborah. Nice to see you guys. Trisha, welcome back. You're so happy I'm making the pizza. I am too. So is my husband. He's thrilled. We have 2 of them, or we'll have 2 of them in the house. It's insane. Okay, so much pizza. That's what you get with me. Secret ingredient, Colavita balsamic vinegar. I always add about 2 tablespoons to my marinara sauce. 1, it's probably a little more. 2, okay. I think that's about 2 tablespoons. I'm not picky about measurements for this. I'm gonna stir it in. Honestly, this really deepens the flavor of the tomatoes. I even like it better than using tomato paste. It gives it a little acid bite to it. So I really think that this makes a big flavor difference in your tomato sauce. That is it. We're gonna let this simmer, bring it up to a little bit of a boil, and then reduce it and simmering while I'm talking about dough and sausage and cheese and all these things. All right, put that over there. Okie dokie. So right here I have about 1/2 pound of cooked sausage. I cooked this up yesterday, and I have some decent sized pieces, you know, like these little guys. That's gonna go on our pizza, but I'm gonna put that away for now. And then I have my dough. This is quite a dough baby right here. So the difference between Chicago deep dish pizza and other kinds of pizza dough is a couple of things. Now, namely, I'm going to tell you something. There's butter in this dough. I know. Now, usually, if I'm making a standard pizza dough, it's flour, water, salt, and sometimes I add a little olive oil. Sometimes. Traditionally, for Neapolitan pizza dough, you would not add olive oil, but I do it because if you're cooking in a conventional oven, it does help to keep your pizza moist. If you're putting your pizza in a 1200 degree oven that's wood fired, it's cooking for 90 seconds. You don't have to worry about these things. But, so this uses butter, and the reason is you actually want this dough to be more like a pie crust. It's gotta be sturdy. It's gotta stand up. It's gotta hold a lot of stuff in. So we're adding some butter to give it more of that flaky sturdiness. Also to this dough is added a little cornmeal. Not too much, about 2.5 tablespoons. Again, the recipe, dough and all, is going to be on our website. But the cornmeal adds a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of texture. Another thing is that I'm using bread flour. Bread flour is higher gluten, and so it is stronger. And we need the big guns for this pizza dough. So not so much interested in light and fluffy like you would be for a Neapolitan with these beautiful big air holes and no. We want strong, sturdy, crust-like, pie crust-like, and that's what we have here. So what I'm going to do is I have a little bit of, now I made this yesterday, so it's been hanging out in the fridge overnight. I don't know where I want to put this. I'm going to put it in my pocket. And it has grown quite a bit. And I think I'm only going to need half of it. So I'm going to attempt to cut it in half. But I have this is white cornmeal here, and I'm going to dust my work surface with the white cornmeal when I roll this out. And I use a rolling pin to roll this out. Now, again, not so interested in light and fluffy, more interested in structured like a pie dough, so rolling pin, A-okay. All right, I'm gonna take half. This is my lovely little dough scraper. It is metal. It's great for getting your dough out of the pan. Okay, hopefully this will be enough. Actually, we're gonna roll this and take the other one, which I think is a little larger. Here we go. It really smells good. Okay, we're gonna put you there. We might use you, we might not. So I wanna just get it dusted with this cornmeal here on all sides. It's gonna be a funny shape. We're not worried about shape right now. We're worried about other things in life right now. So don't worry about shape. It'll be round. And I think we might add a little bit more. This is the beauty of this kind of a dough. If you feel like, oh, maybe I should add some more, we're just gonna like paste it on like a little patch. Okay. Now I'm gonna get my rolling pin. Hello, Michael, welcome. Let's see, Sharon from the cycling team says hello. Hi, Sharon, thank you for joining us. And let's see, why use cornmeal when rolling versus flour? Great question. So Arlene asks, why use cornmeal from rolling instead of flour? And the reason is, if I'm making a traditional dough and I roll it out using flour, when I slide it into the oven, that flour is gonna disintegrate. But instead, what I'm doing here is I'm baking this in a pan, and that flour is gonna stick to the bottom and get cakey, and I do not want that. It's not going to burn off like I'm just sliding it onto a pizza stone. So I use the cornmeal because it's also kind of sweet. It'll give it a little texture, and some of it just won't adhere at all. It's kind of more like ball bearings instead of flour. So interesting little difference. Textural too. Okay, so I'm gonna roll this guy out, and I'm looking for a circular-ish shape, mostly. And I don't want it to be too thin. Again, we can patch it if we get a hole, but you're really looking for not so thin. So, a 1/4 of an inch thickness to a 1/2 inch is good. More dough is not a problem. So this is pretty nice right here. I have this weird shape. It's not pretty, but it's gonna be delicious. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm gonna get it into my pan. This is my 9-inch cake pan. They sell pizza pans for this purpose. I don't own one, but this works just fine. What I've done here is I've made this little parchment collar that really helps because you can just lift your pizza out after it's cooled a bit, which is a really handy tool. So I put that in there. I oil everything with a little Colavita olive oil. And then I'm going to put my dough in there. Now the other kind of pan you could use is a spring form, and I'm going to show you that in a second. Easy it is. It's also kind of cold, which I think helps. I had this in the fridge, so sometimes I think dough that's cold is a little bit easier to roll. Okay, my parchment is misbehaving. Stay there. And you stay there. Okay, so a little trick I have is that, let's hope this works. I'm saying little trick and haha. I kind of roll this over and then plop it in. Kind of helps me guide the dough a bit, and then I don't put my fist through it, which happens sometimes when you pick things up. Now, what I'm going to do is nestle this dough into the pan. It's going to be a little bit bigger on some sides. Don't worry about this. We are going to trim it, and then we can even add some dough from what we trim to some places that might seem a little thin or need a little bit of patch work, like a quilt. All right, so this is looking pretty good so far. So I'm gonna roll the rolling pin around the top of this pan to get this off. Voila. It's gonna shrink back because that is what dough does. Do not worry. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of this because I see it's a little thin right here. I'm just gonna stick it in there. Nobody's gonna see it. That's the beauty of it. Now this pizza is intense. I mean, this is feed your family for a couple of days. So keep that in mind. This is not like your delicate slice of pizza. This is something that, requires a hearty appetite. and you could freeze leftovers, absolutely. I would recommend cutting it up and freezing it. I'm gonna add another little patch over here. Now the walls are gonna kind of fall down sometimes. Don't panic. Just be patient, prop them back up. Sometimes the parchment kind of helps the walls fall down a little bit, which I don't like so much, but it is really useful getting it back out. Okay, one more patch, and then we're good. Our sauce is looking nice. I'm gonna turn this off. Okay, now, more tricks are coming. Okay, this looks pretty good to me. I like it. I'm gonna put my little, this guy is gonna be focaccia, I think. Because we do not need a third Chicago deep dish pizza in this house. All right, now, cheese. I have two kinds of cheese. I have mozzarella and I have provolone. And I buy it in the slices because what you need to do, and this is also gonna help the walls of our pizza stand up, you need to put the cheese first. This acts as a barrier between the liquids, also known as the sauce, and your dough, and it's gonna strengthen everything and prevent that dough from getting soggy. So what you do is you kind of lay the cheese in. This is the mozzarella. And you lay it in so it comes up part way of the wall of the dough, like this. I'm gonna actually switch between provolone and mozzarella, and you want to overlap. You don't want any gaps here, okay? So, usually you'd probably put the mozzarella down just on the bottom layer, because there's gonna be 2 layers. I know, 2 layers of cheese, people. I told you, this is an event, not just a pizza. Okay, so we're gonna layer this all around and make sure that it comes up at least halfway up the sides. And we can't neglect that middle block too, once we have it all the way around the sides. These handy little liners in between my cheese slices. Okay, I think I need like 1 more slice over here, like half a slice. You can totally do, you know, tailor it to how much you need. So kind of do half a slice, and then I'm gonna patch the middle area there. So every part of the bottom is covered by cheese. I have a cheese wall. Oh, I see a piece. We need to have a little triangle here. Okay, so I have a wall of cheese right there. Now, it's like building a pizza in reverse, kind of. Sausage goes next. You might not expect it. Trust your dough has yeast, instant or regular. Okay, so great question. Arlene wants to know if our dough has yeast. Yes, it does. Is it instant or regular? This is active dry yeast in this recipe, not the instant stuff. And the reason that is because you actually, if you have time, you want this dough to hang out in your fridge for up to 42 hours, which is 2 days. And the flavor will increase and it will really pay off. So if you used instant yeast, your dough would overproof. Even in the fridge, it would be a mess. So active dry yeast. To be honest, I also added some of my sourdough starter to here just for a little flavor. That is not something that usually happens, but I did anyway. Now, to be totally clear, you could go to the freezer section of your local grocery store and buy the pizza dough there and do this. It would just be a little bit more difficult, and you won't get that deep dish Chicago structured pie, but you could still do it. Okay, we've got our sausage in the bottom, and you're gonna think, oh, time for sauce. No, not time for sauce. We are gonna do a second layer of cheese. I'm gonna put this extra piece of mozzarella right in the middle, and then I'm gonna go around again so that we have a layer of cheese on the bottom, sausage, and then another layer of cheese. And this is mozzarella and provolone cheese. That is what I'm using. I ripped this one, but it's okay. Okay, 1 more. Oh, there's 2 more. I feel like I should just use them. I mean, what's 1 more piece of cheese? Okay. Now we have quite some height here, I would say. And I'm gonna add another little patch here because I want this side to be a little taller. This is sculptural art, I have to tell you. All right, you get in there too. Okay, I'm done with my cheese slices. All right, now it is time for sauce. Let's get rid of this. And I am gonna take my sauce and spoon it over the top. Make sure, you know, at this point, I'm not worried about it getting in any of the holes. I want this to be a really saucy pizza. You know, when I make Neapolitan style pizza, I'm light-handed with my ingredients. But this is not about that. This is about loading it up. And just, you know, it's like a pie. You want every part full. Imagine if you sliced into an apple pie and there were no apples in your slice. You'd be pretty upset. I'd be upset. So we want to make sure that you get something in every bite. Okay, we are gonna fill this up mostly to the top, and that is pretty much there. I'm gonna add one more scoop. I made more sauce than I needed, which is what I want, because then I'm gonna save this, I might freeze it, do many things with it. Pasta night. Okay, here we go. Now, what I would do at this point, my oven is heated to 450 degrees. And then I'm gonna bake it, I'm gonna put it in the top shelf, and I'm gonna bake it for 15 minutes. At which point, checking for comments, is that provolone from the deli section? You could use either. Yeah, the provolone from the deli section always does kind of taste a little fake, so you use the real stuff. I mean, you can use either, but you know, use what you prefer the taste of. That is the general rule. Why slices versus grated, Arlene? Because the slices are going to create that barrier. It's like putting wallpaper down under there. And we're going to add grated cheese on top, but you want those slices to sort of create that barrier. With grated, you're going to have tons of tiny little holes that the sauce is just going to leak into the crust. So now we have a nice barrier to keep our crust crispy. Okay, so my oven is at 450, my rack is at the top. I'm going to bake this for 15 minutes, at which point I'm going to get in there with some oven mitts, give it a rotation, and check to see how my crust is doing. If it's getting too brown, I can add my lovely little shields, my tinfoil shields, so it doesn't burn. You can always do that, and that will protect your dough from getting too dark. After those second 10 minutes of cooking, that is when I will add my mozzarella cheese, grated this time. I'm just going to show you how I would do that. Grated, grated, grated. And we're going to load that up. Make sure everything is covered. Very important. I want my cheese as far out as it can go. Okay. And then our Parmesan also. Okay. Parmesan. And now this thing is just absolutely stuffed. Okay. There we go. Now that goes into the oven. Well, it would go into the oven before. So load it up to the sauce, oven at 450, bake for 15 minutes, rotate, apply shields if necessary to keep your crust from burning. Then put on your cheeses on top and bake for another 2 or 3 minutes just to get everything nice and melted. That is it. And then take it out very carefully and let it rest for about 10 minutes. Then you can lift it out of its dish onto a cutting board. So I have one for you, of course. I wasn't gonna leave you guys hanging. Okay, so this one, I just wanted to show you that I did bake this in that other pan. Where'd I put it? Over there. But if you use a spring form, you know, you'll be easily able to release the pizza from the form. It's just sometimes the spring forms are a little taller and that can be a little bit hard to manage. But I've done it in both successfully. It worked. So I just wanted to give you guys that option. So easier to lift. Take this piece out. Okay. Now we cut into it. I mean, you guys want to see this, right? This one I made yesterday, just to be perfectly honest. So let's see how it went. But you see how you can see a little bit of cornmeal on the bottom here, on the sides of the dough. And it's a beautiful golden brown color, and it is sitting straight up like this. It's an impressive feat of anti-gravity pizza action. Okay, yeah, I know, it looks good already. What happens now that you didn't do the 15 minutes? Will it still work? Yes, it'll be fine. So the reason that you don't put the shredded cheese on till the end is that it is kind of a long bake time and you don't want any cheese to burn. I'm pretty sure it'll be okay. And I'm gonna check it and put some foil over the top if I need to, but I'm sure it'll be okay. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna go in Now I just warmed this up a little bit, so keep in mind this isn't like fresh out of the oven. I made it yesterday and then warmed it up. However, it looks, oh my gosh, this is awesome. We need a plate! Emergency, a plate! Okay. Pizza emergency. Okay, we're gonna pick this up and I want you to see the layers here. So I've got my cheese, hopefully I don't like make this fall on the floor. Cheese on top, then I've got my sauce, and then I've got my sausage and other cheese, and see how nice and not soggy the bottom of this is because I have protected it with cheese. I'm gonna protect myself with cheese next time it rains. Okay, I need a fork. Who's got a fork? Not me. Okay, I've got a fork. So, I really do feel like this is a fork type of pizza. It's not a pick up and, you know, eat it with your hands kind of thing. So, let's see. That was really good. Oh my goodness. You can taste every layer. So when you bite into it, like literally every layer, I go from cheese to sauce to sausage and more cheese and to crust. And this crust is really good. It's a little bit cakey, a little bit sweet, and I'm really happy with it. So that's the whole story, guys. Chicago deep dish. I hope this is what you're looking for. Now, one thing you could do, you don't want sausage. First of all, you use any kind of sausage, chicken sausage, turkey. I do like to pre-cook it. Last time I made this, I did leftover meatballs, so I put those in. I kind of cut them in half and spread them along the bottom. Another thing that's traditional is ricotta and spinach. If you do that, I would recommend squeezing out all the excess water from that spinach and draining the ricotta, maybe in the fridge in a little colander overnight. You want to get all that water out before you add it to your dough. You want the driest ingredients possible. So, you know, when you go to the grocery store and you see low moisture mozzarella, that's the stuff you want. Low moisture. All right, so that is it. Honestly, you could divide this up, serve a nice salad on the side, and you have a really satisfying lunch, dinner, party, whatever. You could make tiny ones in muffin tins. I know, I'm getting crazy now, but that is something you could do. So again, if you must try. Shelly says, I need to come to Chicago and try Lou Malinati's deep dish. In fact, you can order online. They ship. But I'm going to try making my own. I hope you do. And if you do, if you try this recipe, please tag us and let me know how it goes. We want to know. Donna says, looks delish. It certainly is. Is the filling more major in Chicago deep pizza versus Neapolitan? So I would say that the filling, so when I think of Neapolitan pizza is traditionally a 10 to 12 inch, usually about 10 inches, a personal size, super fluffy, quickly cooked pizza. It's traditionally made in a wood-fired oven, and the fillings, it's more topping. So it's more your San Marzano tomatoes, your mozzarella cheese, basil. That is, you know, a little olive oil and salt. That is your traditional. So it's really not about filling. Chicago deep dish, skillet pizza, that's about your filling. Now you could even top this with another layer of dough, and then you have, like, you know, then you have a real pie. So the styles of pizza, and I could go on because I have a lot of information on this topic, really dictate how you address what goes on top. And now, I can't see your comments, hang on. All right, so that's kind of it. Now, obviously there are different kinds of Neapolitan, but that's your traditional, which is called the margherita. This sausage one is one of the traditional Chicago styles, but the spinach and ricotta is another. And, you know, obviously pizza is one of those dishes where you can let your imagination run wild. So I would encourage you to do that. It's really fun. Okay, so I'm gonna put my second pizza in the oven, and then I am going to have all these pizzas for dinner. Who's coming over? Okay. Thank you guys so much for joining me through this crazy time. I've so enjoyed talking to you via the comments, and happy 4th of July to all of you. Please let us know if you make any of these recipes, and let us know if you enjoyed our series. Hopefully we'll be back and looking to teach you more about cooking with Colavita olive oil. I'm Elena, and I appreciate your company and your time. Thank you guys. Ciao for now, and have a very happy holiday weekend.